So quite a while ago I made a video showing you how to create street level maps, and if you haven't seen that video, click up here somewhere. Now in that video I used a fairly cumbersome tool based on Google Maps where you could turn on and off a whole bunch of different layers, and then you could pass the output of that into your laser and cut out a bunch of pieces, layer them all together, and you'd have what was essentially a map. Now, the downside was that was really just a two-dimensional map. No matter how many layers you had, it was still basically 2 dimensions. A couple of people asked about 3-dimensional maps, and I thought, yeah, it's probably time we did something. I really want to get back to some project work. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make one of these cool maps. And the beauty of this kind of map is the tool to create it is even easier. So let's get started. Now, before we get started here, I want to respond to a very serious comment made by a viewer in the last video, and I'll put the comment up above here. And in response to this video, I will say, Roger, you will see the crescent wrenches have been restored to the proper orientation. With that, we can get started on the video. How's it going, everybody? Steve here, and welcome back to the shop. Now, with the dangerous crescent wrench situation taken care of, we can get down to business, and in this video I want to show you how to create a 3-dimensional map. Now, unlike the previous video where you got to use your laser to do the cutting and engraving, in this video you will need a CNC machine. Now, it can be any CNC machine, right from the smallest 3018 kind of machine up to something like my Onefinity, which is what I'm going to use. And in the end, you'll do a bunch of machining on a piece of wood of your choice, and what'll come out is a nice 3-dimensional map. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of tools, but there's lots of different tools you could use. I chose these two because they're easy. Now, if you've seen some of the other videos on creating 3-dimensional maps for this purpose, quite often they want you to use something like Blender. If you don't know what Blender is, it's a 3D rendering engine. Quite powerful, but it comes with a very steep learning curve, so I was trying to avoid that. Now, the good news is I found a couple of tools. One, there are other videos on YouTube that you've seen, and the other one I haven't seen any videos on, but both have their benefits and their drawbacks, and I'll talk about both of those. And then I'll do a bit of CNC machining here to create the map. Now, this video isn't about specifically CNC work. I can show you how I set up the toolpaths if you're interested. Really, what's important here is the actual map creation, because once you can do that, you could use your CNC, you could use a 3D printer to create these, and in the end get exactly what you're looking for. All right, so the first tool I'm going to talk about here is one called Touch Terrain. These are all free online, by the way, and I'll put links down below. Touch Terrain is nice because it has a number of maps that you can choose from. So you can see here the grayed area shows you what the current map covers. And it's the USGS map that's covering the entire continental US and Alaska and Hawaii. And it's a 10-meter resolution. I'm going to pick the ENERCAN map, which is a 20-meter resolution, and it covers Canada. And the reason for that is I want to kind of do a map of my local area, which is the east coast of Canada. So with the map selected, we can now go down into some of the specific settings. Now, this tool will provide capability for either a 3D printer or a CNC, which is nice. We're going to use the CNC, so if I pick the initial width of the map that I'm going to create, I'll say I want CNC large, and that will create a map that's 141.4 millimeters. Now you can stretch this out in your CNC layout tool when the time comes. And you'll notice it says nozzle diameter here. Again, that's for a 3D printer. We're going to pick CNC high detail. And that's really all you need to do in the absolute base. But there are a couple of other options you're going to want to play with here. One is the thickness of your model, which will basically be the height from the lowest point to the highest point. So if you're doing Mount Everest, for example, and you say 1 millimeter, Mount Everest is going to be a bump on your material. So we're going to want to say, let's pick 5 millimeters for the base map resolution, and then you can do this thing called vertical exaggeration, and I would recommend this. This one, this is an advantage of this tool because it lets you really blow things up to crazy heights. But I would say pick an exaggeration of maybe 10, because if you go too high, then even the slightest hill looks like a mountain, and that's not going to look like a good map. So with 10, I found that it tends to look all right. And then you can choose the type of output you want. I'm going to leave it at STL binary because my CNC tool can import that. Now we can do a couple of things here. So we can say, show me what is actually selected, and I can move this rectangle around. And so that's kind of the area I want, but I can scale this as well. So I can say, I only want to see this piece of the world. So it covers the entire Maritimes of Canada, basically, and that's good enough for me. You can also scale individual on the horizontal or vertical, and then we can look at this. So we get this interesting little chugging train. It takes a while to actually create the map, and that's maybe one of the downsides of Terrain Touch. It does take a minute or two to create. But as I mentioned, you can do things like exaggerated height to a greater scale than you can with the other tool I'm going to talk about once we get going here. All right, and our STL has been built, and we can preview it. And again, a little bit of a slow tool, but it goes out and loads the STL file into a web-based viewer, and when it's done, we'll get the STL file rendered, and it will, hopefully look like a map. And here we go. Here's our map. Now, one of the things you'll see, because we did exaggerate this a bit, so you can actually get a good bunch of detail. And if you go maybe a little more, maybe you want 15 or 12 or something in here. To blow this up. Now the downside of this one is you don't get, in a place where I live, like where it's coastal, when you engrave this with a CNC, when you machine this out, it's very difficult to make a distinction between where the ocean ends and the land begins, because land, of course, at sea level is also at sea level, but you do get much more detailed maps. And at this point, we could save this, we could download this as a zip file, and then we could load this STL file into our CAD tool. So that's Touch Terrain. Now the next tool is one called Terrain to STL. And again, not surprisingly, it takes some map that you select and turns it into a 3D STL file. And again, you could push that out to a 3D printer, or you can send it to a CNC. Again, I'll zoom into the area that I'm interested in, and then I can select the details. Now here it's a little more confusing because it's using curvature of the earth. So rather than say I want something that's 200 millimeters, I say I want something that is so many degrees of surface on the earth, and same on the height. And you'll see that if I blow those two right up to the maximum, you can look at it and say, well, wait a minute, this isn't big enough to encapsulate what I'm looking for. So you can then use this scale factor to size up the map and get it to the size you want. And we'll start first with the width because that one is the most challenging one. So it's about there. And then we can shrink down the height and get us to something that looks a little more like the selection that we had before, possibly a little more here. And there you go, it's selected. Now, the one nice thing about Terrain to STL is that you can say where the map runs into water, drop it down. So what I typically do using this tool is I'll say, drop the water down 1 millimeter. And unlike the Touch Terrain map where the edge of land at the ocean, for example, was hard to distinguish. Here you can actually kind of force that drop so that it's very clear where the land begins. Then you can also do things like manipulate the height. It also has vertical scaling, so this is the same as that vertical exaggeration. The downside is it's not nearly as big as you can do with touch terrain, but it works. And if you use something like Vectric VCarve or Aspire to run your CNC, you can do the exaggeration in the tool as well. So with that, we can generate the model. And now that the model is generated, I can download it. What you'll get is an STL file. And if I open it up and bring it back over here, you can see here's the map. And again, you can zoom into this thing and you'll see along the water edge where it's much crisper than it was with touch terrain, but then the detail of the land itself isn't quite as good. So pick your tool, they both work, and at the end what's important is you get an STL file, and that's what we'll use next. All right, so now that I have my STL file, I've popped into, in my case, Vectric VCarve, which is the tool that I use to create models for my CNC. I'm in the setup for the material, and I'm going to create a piece of material that's 200 by 200 by 24 millimeters will be good. And there's my material surface. Now I'm going to import next my 3D model, this one, and this is the STL file. So you can see my material is here, my STL file is here, and there's a complete discrepancy in size. So what I'm going to do is I'll shrink this down quite a bit to 200 millimeters, and now you can see it fits my material and it's centered. And then the next thing I'm going to want to do is set the height. I mentioned that you could do the vertical stretch inside the tool. So what I'm going to do is set this to let's try 12 millimeters and see what it looks like. And now I want to make sure that in the case of my map, I'm not below my material. So I'm going to bring this up a bit to there, and that looks not too bad. Actually, I'll go down just slightly, and then I can import. And I did notice that my map changed size while I was changing the height there. So that's okay, because inside the tool I can resize it anyway. And so we can shrink it down till it fits on our material. And we're not too bad, we're getting close. And let me just center it. Okay, so there's our map sitting on the surface of the material. Now we don't want to waste material, so I'll move it down here closer to the edge, and I think I'll stretch it out just a bit more. Okay, so now because this is a 3D model, we can do a few things in VCarve. One of them being we can surround the shape with a rectangle, and we're going to use that to do a cutout later, to cut this out of maybe a bigger piece of material. And the other thing we can do is we can adjust the height of this, and this is where we would do another attempt at that stretch. This is probably a bit too much, but that's okay. And when we're done, we can go look at what the 3D model looks like. And you can see there, it's not too bad. Now, rather than go through a bunch of toolpath creation, because that's really not the intent of this video, what I did was just open the original drawing I had for the map that I showed you right at the beginning of this video, and we can just quickly look at the tool paths. So what I did was I did a roughing tool path first, and we can say, what does that look like? And you can see it creates, basically hacks out all of the bulk of the material to make things a little faster. And then I created a finishing toolpath, which actually draws the rest of the map. And just for fun, I put some text on this map, which is the wording. And finally, there's a toolpath to do the cutout of the material. So that's all there is here. And I'll go cut this out, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, we're back. It's a couple hours later and the map is finished, and all I really did to finish it off was I did some very, very light sanding right around some of the edges with 600 grit sandpaper. May or may not be necessary. CNC tools do a pretty good job. And then I finished it off with some board oil. I was actually working on a cutting board at the same time, and I just used the same board oil to finish this off, and voila, the map is done. A bit of a flyover here to finish it off, and you can see it looks really nice. Now you will see at the southern tip of the map, there's a bit of a hack over the piece of land. That's to prove that Steve makes everything, including massive mistakes. What I did was at the very last second, as I was moving the cutting tool out of the way, I ran it across the map. So big screw up on my part. It's okay because this map was only for the purposes of this video. I may hang it on the wall in my shop just to cover up a nail hole or something. With that, we can wind down. Hopefully you got something out of this. As always, I'll put a video up in the corner here. Go watch that and I'll see you over there. Otherwise, get out there and make your world, and I'll see you next time.